Good morning, you strange and wonderful weirdos. I'm John.
I'm Stacey.
It's Tuesday, December 20th. And here's why. Today is strange. We got to work on our head movement.
It's getting a little closer.
So we get to like the here's why, and then we look over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm just
sorry.
So tomorrow, folks, you're going to have to judge us on that, okay? I've been trying to have it happen organically, and it's just not happening.
Oh,
so
I see.
You got to excuse us, though. We may or may not have been Christmas shopping.
Only a few more days. All right. So you ready for the first story?
My God, is it busy?
Yes, it is. All right. So this first story is about the Undersecretary of Defense that gave a UFO and aliens update this past Friday.
Yes, that was a wonderful update. So happy to see that update.
Yeah, so full of information.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about this.
Let's go over that.
Let's make me happy.
So the Department of Defense's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office gave a report and a press conference on the progress of the AARO so far. So I'm just going to hit a couple little highlights. I do have a link for the entire transcript for the whole press conference if you feel like reading that. So the first thing I want to point out is that they aren't always calling them UAPs anymore, because, you know, they do the ones under the sea now, in the air and under the sea. Now it's unidentified anomalous objects.
What happened to USO?
I guess UAP and USO merged, and now they're UAOs.
I think the UBS is
So some of the things that they said, and we're talking about Sean Kirkpatrick, who is the director of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. And
one of those Irish fellas. We've learned.
Right. And Moultrie is the last name of the other gentleman. For some reason, I do not see his name on here. That is my bad. So they were talking to the press, and they said that their team knows that the public interest in UAP is high, and they are developing a plan to provide regular updates and progress reporting to the public on their work. So they're not updating us. They're updating us that they are working on a plan on how to update us. Because that's difficult. It's difficult to just tell us.
Yeah.
They said that they have not, to the best of their knowledge, had any credible reporting that we've been able to analyze of any trans-medium activity or trans-medium objects. They're still going through the data, of course, because there's so much. They say it's early on in the process, so they don't want to be definitive that nothing's there. But as far as they know, up to now, there isn't anything to report. Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised. I'm Nate Diaz saying I'm not surprised. Not surprised. I don't care that I was bleeped.
Right.
I want a big Nate Diaz behind me right now saying I'm not surprised. Okay? Because this thing made me so angry. I get really angry about this. I do. And there's a lot of reasons why. Number one is because it's and I'll tell you why I'm angry. Okay? I'm angry because it's real. It's 100% real. Everything they've released, from the TikTok, Tic-Tac, Tickly Doo-Doo, Chiclet footage, to the Fruit Stripe footage, to the Juicy Fruit footage, to the Bubble Yum footage, has all been authentic. And that's not to mention the millions and millions of UFO, UAP, UBS reportings that are out there every day. Okay? Not to mention everything that's been going on since God and forever. Okay? We are so tired of the BS cover-ups and, you know, and people being allowed to say things like,
I don't believe anything's there. No, I don't believe. We can't identify anything, but I don't believe anything's there.
Dr. Travis Taylor from Skinwalker Ranch fame, or Ancient Aliens fame. This guy he's a genius from way back, right? This guy was a genius in school. They put him through they're like, oh, hey, he's got one of the greatest minds. Let's put him in every program we can, okay? He's not just a TV guy.
Right.
He's a intelligent, incredible person that did TV. It's a little different than just a TV person. Would you not agree?
I agree. Yeah.
He recently did an interview with the Black Vault. Okay. And go find the podcast for the Black Vault. Listen to the Dr. Travis Taylor interview. I think it's the last thing they did. It's a few weeks old. He describes for an hour and 15 minutes or whatever a lot of the whole story of his part in all this crap, some of the things, and they get to the nitty gritty. They're like, what about the stories? Wait, do you think it's... And he just straight up, scientifically now, mind you,
right,
tells you, and we're answering so many questions where you're like, you know what? If I did have a doubt, I don't have a doubt now. And this guy is all facts. He will not mention anything other than facts.
Right.
It's all about the data.
Yeah, and if he doesn't have anything to support it, he'll say, I can't support that. Or, straight up what he has proof for and what he doesn't.
Right.
Like, he's very straightforward.
And that guy, I was already convinced, but I loved it just because of the skeptics. And I knew, I've been sensing it, been smelling it. They were going to come out and do some crap like this. And the headlines from this were just where I got mad because the headlines was like, they found nothing. They came out. The update was
right.
They found nothing. There's nothing there. It's a big nothing burger.
That's not exactly what they said. They said as of yet, they don't have anything that they can tell us about. I mean, they didn't even say specifically no.
We live in a sensationalized world.
Oh, absolutely we do.
It's all about the story of the minute. Nobody's going to click into it.
Nobody's going to read it. They're going to read the headline and go with it. Yes, I hate that.
You are one of the only people on the planet, in a good way, folks, that reads all the stories. And, but not most people aren't like that. And we live in that boom, boom, boom world. Gimme, gimme, gimme. If anybody has kids, you understand what I'm saying. Our kids are completely different than what kids were even 15 years ago because they've never had anything but the super fast internet and give it to me now.
Right.
So that's why the news cycle's like that. But I'm sorry. I knew this was coming.
It's okay. I'm just going to point out a couple more little things because the press really did ask the questions. They tried. At one point, there was a question that said, is there any evidence that you have affirmative evidence that you have collected that shows any one of these anomalies is a space alien? Like, they just asked it right out. And Dr. Kirkpatrick was like, no, but Moultrie elaborated. He said, at this time, the answer is no, we have nothing. And so you have to listen to all the words, the way they word everything. They don't just say, no, there's nothing. They say at this time, and we haven't come across yet, and things like that. He said they have not seen anything that would, but they're very early on that would lead us to believe, that any of the objects that they've seen are of alien origin. He said, if we find something like that, we will look at it and analyze it and take the appropriate actions. Now, they did mention, they said they gave it some thought, and they didn't want to talk about it too much because you remember we talked about yesterday the NDAA that was being signed into law, and that it had the provision for the project that went back to look at all of the cases from 1945. And so they mentioned that. He said that he didn't want to talk about it too much until it was actually signed, but that there was going to be quite a research project. So I'm pretty sure he's alluding to that project where they're going to go back and look at old cases and things like that. So there was one more, they tried one more time. There's another question. It said, but does the Defense Department have any evidence from previous incidents, including crashed craft, or living or deceased beings from another planet or dimension that indicate that the U.S., and then he said, the Earth has been visited by another form of life. And he said that he's going to discount meteorites and things like that have microbes on it. He's going to talk, he was just focusing this question as intelligent life, he's like, I'm not going to talk about, anything, any little kind of tiny piece of life, intelligent life. He said in terms of holdings that he's seen, and he used the word holdings. Yes, sir. Do you have a question?
I do. Thank you. John Edwards.
Yes.
Today is Strange podcast.
Yes. Oh, I've seen your show. I like it.
Oh, thank you.
It's thank you very much. Wife you have there.
Yes.
Anyway, what's your question?
I agree. So that in and among itself is an insane statement.
Yes.
Because he said, I don't want to talk about microbial life that came in maybe from asteroid or whatever.
Yeah, I think his exact words were, so I'm going to discount meteorites and things like that might have microbes on it and those types of things, and just talk about things that may be intelligent life that may have crash landed on our planet. So he's basically saying that there have been microbes.
Riddle me this.
Right.
That's never happened. That would be life outside of our planet.
Right.
We look for that. And we've always wondered how in the Hades has that not been found.
Right.
Because they've got everything else.
And he's not saying that it has been found. He's just saying he wasn't going to put that into the equation.
If there's light, water, mud, and dirt, there's got to be some kind of microbial life. That's nuts that he said it that way.
It is. It's weird he did say it that way. But he did say that in terms of holdings, he's seen the holdings, he's gone through them. And when he says holdings, he did clarify his word holdings. He claims that those are documentations, things that people have said, like documents and stories and things.
Yeah.
But he says that everything that they've gone through, everything they've gone back and tried to understand, all the compartmented programs, all the relationships and things like that, that they have not seen anything in those holdings to date that would suggest that there has been an alien visitation, an alien crash, or anything like that. So I don't know if that, the way they're wording it, I don't know if that means that there isn't anything at all, or there just isn't anything that they want to release to the public.
We need another law.
Very strange.
We need another law. They drag them in the street and beat them till they're bloody law for everyone who ever stood before a microphone that knew better and said that there's nothing. Because you're liars. You're all liars. I don't care what part of the government you're from. I don't care if I got kicked, banned, ostracized. I don't care. It's real. The UFO phenomenon, the alien phenomenon, the abduction phenomenon, it's all real. Now, I don't know that it's ET from Mars. I don't know that it's interdimensional. I don't know that it's angels, demons. No idea. Don't claim to know. But I do know this. It's not a human being. Because a human being would go splitty splat inside of the little thing. And I say little thing because of the shapes. Shapes that are stupid, honestly. There's some really ignorant shapes that fly around our skies. Just mind-bending, right? And there's a lot of these things that just make zero sense. And very honorable pilots that have risked their lives so you can lie have went on record and said this. Bankers, lawyers, I forget the lawyers, bankers, teachers, doctors,
right,
have all
pilots
had their sightings. It's time to end the UBS. I mean, it's disclosure is way past due. Don't whet our appetite. I hate that word. I just hate it. But I need a better word for it. But don't whet our appetite and then screw us.
Dangle the carrot. Dangle the carrot. Would that be considered dangling?
Don't play with my dangling carrot unless you're going to eat it.
I would like to point out, do you notice when they did that press conference?
Oh, yeah.
On Friday.
Yeah, we've told you. If you don't know, folks, beware of Friday. Because Friday's when the she's
That's when you need to pay attention to the news.
I mean, that's when it's going to go down, though.
Right. All right. Shall we move on? I think we've spent enough time on that.
Pray continue.
All right. So this is still kind of an alien story. This is about a new paper that has been put out by astrophysicist Amory Wandel, who has hypothesized a solution for the Fermi Paradox. Do you know what?
Like those little black things that cussed at you when you bought them for your kids?
No, that's a Furby.
Oh.
This is the Fermi Paradox. Basically, the Fermi Paradox puts out there that if there's so much universe, it's so big, then there should be so much life. Why haven't we been contacted? That's basically the paradox. And there's been a lot of people that have put forward suggestions to why that is. So he has written a paper where he's put his own new hypothesis, out there.
Photosynthesis.
And he says that life may be more common in our galaxy than we think, which means any potential extraterrestrials are spoiled for choice when choosing who to contact. Therefore, we are not technologically advanced enough to be of interest to any other alien race. Now, the reason he says this is because he believes that the way ETs would find a planet to visit would be by technosignatures, such as like radio broadcasts and things like that. Now, Earth...
Or the big blue pretty thing out there in space.
Right. Earth first broadcast radio transmissions that were detectable in space less than 100 years ago, which means since we started up to now, they would only be about 50 light years away. And that is not that much space. Like, unless they were within 50 light years, they wouldn't be able to detect them, et cetera, et cetera. So therefore, we are not smart enough or of interest enough to be visited. And that's his answer. He wrote a whole paper on it.
You know what? Somebody out there that's writing a thesis right now.
Right.
Why don't you write something about why those people are quacks and the fact that there is hardcore evidence that there was a time before time. And that everything kind of started with, way back. And there was a cataclysm. And then there was some remnants of that cataclysm. And they came and taught the other people. And that's why everything started at the best it can be. And then they gradually, over time, forgot that stuff.
Heresy.
It is heresy. I revel in heresy.
Let's not even get started on the Atlantis story.
Oh my God!
Oh no, let's not.
So we're putting up another link.
Okay.
So next year, Stacey and I are going to go to Asheville, North Carolina, and we're going to meet Randall Carlson, Graham Hancock, Johanna James, and Jimmy from Bright Insight.
I love that Jimmy doesn't have a last name. He's just Jimmy from Bright Insight. I don't know his last name either.
I think I do from the Rogan show, but I don't remember it right now.
I don't either. Anyway.
But Jimmy from Bright Insight, he's done a few Atlantis videos, and I'll be honest with you. At first, I was like, and I'm willing to believe anything. Am I not?
Yes.
I mean, like, I'm very open-minded. Like, have to catch my mind every now and then, throw it back in. Atlantis, it's Schmanis for me. Like, it's just one of those grandiose pie in the sky things of
it's
like
the crop circles.
Yeah, it's crop circles. I've always hated crop circles, Bigfoot, and Atlantis. To be honest with you, okay, I've weakened my stance on Bigfoot just because I believe in little people, and it's kind of they're on every continent. Every race has no matter how far Ooga Booga goes back, they're like Ooga Booga hairy, you know. So it's just one of these things, but. This whole thing, it all makes sense because the Atlantis theory that he has right now, my God, watch the whole 20-some minute video that he just put out.
It's mind-blowing.
He puts every bit of his stuff into it, right? He even addresses all the people that have come back on him about what he said and everything. It's a lot better than what he had when he was prepped as good as he could for Rogan. Much better. And he condenses it as much as he really can. Yeah. But gives you all the sources of what you need. Oh my God.
He literally has more evidence than some scientific theories have evidence. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really worth watching. And it really kind of explains. Forget that it's Atlantis, right? If maybe it was called, Bram. It don't matter what the land was called. It's the fact that it really does match the description given by Plato that was passed down to him by the wisest of the wise there. And the damn anomaly in the Sahara Desert, the eye of the Sahara that looks
like an eye.
I'm not even going to get into it, but
if you watch the video.
If you don't know, you need to know. All you guys who like weird stuff, you need to know. So links on here, just enjoy it.
Okay, so let's move on.
Let's.
All right, so let's talk about a discovery in Turkey of an 11,000-year-old wall carving that has the strongest claim to being the oldest narrative scene that they've ever found. But it has a little carving of a man gripping his junk while wild animals stalk him. It's very strange. So it's a carving that depicts two separate scenes on adjacent stone blocks, suggesting a progressive story. And that's what they're saying. It's like one of the oldest like progressive story carvings they have. The first picture is a squatting male human holding a rattle or a snake. I don't know. They guess couldn't tell which is which, facing off against a bull with a large horn. And then as you move on to the next panel, there's a male human holding his phallus, while leopards approach, teeth bared on either side. Now, when you look at the carvings, all of it is flat relief except for the man holding his penis, and he is like sticking out, like he's very prominent. Now, it was from a site known as I think it's called Burke. I don't really know how to say that. It's located beneath a modern village in the San.
So 11,000 years ago.
Turfa?
11,000 years ago, there was dudes living it. Because what are you going to do when a bunch of hungry ass jaguars are like coming down on you? Baring their teeth? Well, you're going to whack off. Makes sense to me.
That they found several residential buildings and a large communal structure that had benches around the wall, and on the backs of some of these carved benches is where they found this picture. So they have no idea what it's for or what it means.
It's like a prehistory kink.
It is, and I don't know why. It's such a strange thing. Like, they have no idea what the story's trying to say.
Ooga.
Just the theme.
Have you seen Jimmy?
The theme is humans being threatened by dangerous animals.
Ooga. Jimmy Johnson.
Why would it be on the back of a bench? Like,
well, maybe,
sit here.
I'm telling you, maybe that's what the guys are saying. That's how he got away from it. It's a story so great. These people had never seen anything better than this. He was going to be eaten alive, and he freaking squeezed one off and confused all the wild animals.
Well, see, so the first guy in the first panel was killed by the bull with the horn because he was holding a rattle or a snake, and that didn't help anything.
He was trying to outdo him. He's like, oh yeah.
And the other guys do this.
The other guy's freaking squeezing the mink, and this is what happened.
Oh, wow. So interesting find. All right.
Love it.
Last story. Let's talk about the story from San Diego. And this is a story about a man. It turns out he is an unhoused man. He's not a homeless man. He was a homeless man when I first found this story, but then they changed it to the more PC word unhoused.
You're putting me on.
I am not. It's very strange. Yeah, see, I tried to go back and find the one that said homeless man, and apparently somebody told them that was not politically correct anymore, and so now he's an unhoused man. I don't understand why they have to use that at all. It's not important to the story. He's a man.
I'll tell you what.
A man in San Diego.
It didn't offend the man.
Right.
It offended some 13-year-old girl.
Right.
On Twitter.
So this man, if you're just going to, he's just a man. He was arrested for stealing an excavator from a construction site to help another man change his tire. So this good Samaritan noticed that there was a man trying to change his tire, didn't have a jack. So he went to the nearby construction site, opened a gate somehow, broke into the gate, drove the excavator, which, by the way, the construction worker said he drove very well, drove the excavator over, put the bucket over the car, and lifted it up, and the guy changed his tire. The cops came, and construction workers happened to be showing up for work about the same time, so his timing is really bad.
Maybe his timing's really good. Maybe next time we hear from him, he'll be a foreman.
Yeah, he might have a job.
No longer unhoused.
They called the cops, and he was like, look, I was just trying to help this guy out. And he really did it without hardly damaging the car at all. There's like a little dent in where the excavator.
God knows it's California. They're not going to.
And they arrested him, and he was like, look, I don't know why I'm being arrested. I was just trying to help somebody out. And the excavator was returned to the construction site.
Sorry, we were downtown, sir. We were handing out heroin needles, and we heard that there was somebody helping someone up here. Sorry, that's not going to happen, sir.
We need to arrest this man right now.
This is ridiculous.
If those construction workers had been at work already, he probably would have just asked to borrow it.
And they probably would have let him.
Yeah. So, maybe it's their fault. I don't know. Anyway, he did a good deed. I hope something good happens of it. I hate that he got arrested for it.
Well, I mean, if anything good came of it, we now know how to properly address him.
That's right.
Excuse me, sir. Are you unhoused?
I'm 2 stories suburban Kentucky. Stacey from Today is Strange.
The man would look at me and go, well, that's why today's strange.